You are watching Facts Me TV. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content.
On this episode of Facts Me TV, guys, you're getting the goods, and it was at your request. If you guys recall, I did a live, last week, maybe the week before, where I covered how many times Candace Owens has said Charlie and Erika and Jews and Israel. But today, we are taking it a step further, and you guys are not going to believe these numbers. So stick around. Here we are, my friends. Welcome back. It is Monday. It is great. We are in the summer. I hope everybody's doing good. Welcome back to Facts Me TV. And boy, we've got a stellar episode today, guys. And it's for you, Factivists. If you recall, as I alluded to at the very beginning of this show, you guys asked for more numbers. You wanted to see more comparisons. You guys, if you're new to this show or if you missed the episode, look on the screen there. Go find that episode. That is where I initially talked about the words and the names that Candace Owens has obsessed over for almost 9 months. So you guys can check that out so you're up to date. Although we will do a recap today as we are exposing these new numbers. But you guys wanted to know, you wanted that comparison. And I thought it was a great idea. So I spent, since then, putting all these numbers together. Nice graphs for you guys to see. Sources included. Every single one of these numbers, my friends, is completely and entirely accurate. So what you are going to leave here with today is more ammunition to shut down Candace Owens, and even more so, her cult members who can't seem to grasp reality. Also on the show, there was a bit of a tragedy in Brazil yesterday, and we're going to talk briefly about that. We're going to talk about Bill Maher very briefly, and we're going to continue on with the shenanigans and these amazing numbers that I'm just telling you is going to prove so much. This is going to add more to the defamation, to the stalking claims. This is really going to help out with the lawsuits against Candace Owens. Because as you guys know, a lot of what I'm doing here is to assist these lawsuits against Candace Owens, proving the defamation, proving the stalking, proving the obsession, proving the lies. That's what we do here, my friends, my Factivists. But we are at a new week, and it's time to get this thing started. But I would like to kick things off with Bill Maher, my friends. Bill Maher, you know, he's not a guy I never really liked, but I never really disliked either. I always thought, especially growing up when he was doing Politically Incorrect, that he was just such a liberal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's changed a lot as he has aged. And I'm not saying I would get along with Bill. Maybe I would. I don't know. He seems in his older age now that he's more reasonable in his debating. But when Bill Maher is backing President Trump, that tells you all you need to know. And that gave me a little more respect for Bill. because this is what we've talked about, Factivist. We've talked about it on this show. Shoot, I just mentioned it yesterday in that replay of the People's Panel, which, by the way, I want to thank you guys for all tuning into that. It was just something, at the last minute. I told you guys I wasn't going to do a show on Sunday. Had no plans on doing a show on Sunday. And, you guys got to meet Tara yesterday in the chat and see her firsthand in a one-on-one with me on the People's Panel, as well as Sam Maher. Two really good people. From the way it's looking, Tara Talks is going to start her own YouTube. So please support her, guys, if you like the road that she is going down. She's good people. I can attest to that. She was one of the very first to jump onto the Fax Me train when I launched it last year. So if you guys missed out on that yesterday, it's a nice maybe 2 hour and 15-minute People's Panel. First half, it's me and Sam Maher talking. Second half, it is me and Tara Schuster, who is now Tara Talks, because that's what she does. But check out this video from Bill Maher defending President Trump and slamming Candace Owens. This gives me an all new respect for Bill Maher. This is what we were talking about. This is what I was alluding to. That even though, hey, I'm not a Democrat, I'm still adult enough to recognize that Obama did a few things I liked. Bill did a few things I liked, and that's the difference between honest conservatives and the left. The left doesn't care how much good President Trump is doing. They just won't put their ego aside. They'd rather just sound stupid and attack the man. Look, you can't deny these historical events that President Trump has set into place. These historical changes, these policies that he's brought out. He's making the country better. He's fixing wars. Okay? You can deny it all you want, but the reality tells a different story. But check out this clip of Bill Maher, and we will be right back.
You'll understand this is someone who was accused of being a conspiracy theorist for a long time. I mean, Candace Owens is a conspiracy theorist. I mean, she has crazy ideas, and a lot of them involve how terrible the Jews are. And some people defend that, and some people don't. This is why I always thought it was so stupid to compare Trump with Hitler. Trump is not Hitler. This Nick Fuentes prick, he's Hitler. Trump is von Hindenburg, okay? If we want to use that analogy. Trump is the one who said, and I give him credit for this, he said, we don't want you. He adjudicated this recently. He said, we don't want the Nick, we don't need them. And he's right about that. That's where the trouble is in this party. Is the Candace Owens Bannon sometimes? Megyn Kelly is on the wrong side of this, I think.
I hate the facts and Ben Shapiro. And I hate the Daily Wire too. Boo-hoo. And I was fired by TP Charlie. Oh no. And I lied. Daily Wire fired me too. And I hate everything about Jews. Everything about Jews. Ding, 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 down. And I don't like a thing about blonde women. And I hate Donald Trump too. Boo-hoo. And I won't ever solve a mystery. No, no. 'Cause I think blondes are overrated too. And I'm a prick and I'm a clown. I can't read or a word pronounce. I hate everything about Jews. Fake and gay. Everything about Jews. Fake and gay. Everything about Jews. Fake and gay. Everything about
This channel is a mix of facts, parody, satire, and personal opinion. If you ever need clarification on any of the material, please don't hesitate to ask.
So you guys just checked out that little clip of Bill Maher. He was actually sitting there with Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I didn't want to get into that whole mess. We don't got time for that today because we are unleashing the fury here on Fax Me, the reality that is about to smack the Candace cultists right in the frickin' face. Guys, this is some disturbing data I'm going to be sharing with y'all here in a few, okay? But before we get to that, a couple more things at hand, right? Guys, I don't know if you heard about the terrible tragedy in Brazil yesterday. You guys are familiar with what bungee jumping is, right? And what bothers me the most about this story is that the key component in bungee jumping is literally embedded in the act itself. Bungee. One is required to have a bungee cord on them in order to bungee jump. Guys, check out this clip. Nothing graphic. I'm going to make sure of that. I do have the original. It's not that bad as far as graphic, but it's just the idea and seeing it actually happen. I'm not going to show that to you guys, but I do want you to watch this to see what happened. Okay. This is over in Brazil. Beautiful young woman about to bungee jump. What do you want to call them? The attendants, whoever's running this show, getting her all set up, gets her up in the air, throws her off just like any other day. But there's just one problem. They forgot to attach the bungee cord. Check this out. Now, a lot of people are claiming this is AI. This is what I woke up to this morning because nobody believes anything anymore. It is not AI. This legitimately happened. It's all over Brazilian news. You guys can see a picture of the young lady there. Such a shame. I mean, and what bothers me, and I'm putting this back on the screen as I'm talking here so you guys can watch it again, is there are multiple attendants running this thing. And especially the guy in the back. When you're looking at him, he's looking directly at this woman, right? He's carrying her. How do you not notice? The bungee cord isn't even attached. This is so careless. And the woman lost her life. She's gone. I mean, clearly. I mean, this is awful. And who knows? To my understanding, from what I read yesterday, is every individual there has been charged with murder. And you can call it involuntary all you want. I'm calling it careless, completely careless. Entirely could have been prevented. It's just double checking your work. I mean, especially with something like that, you should have, like, in my opinion, now I'm out of my element here. I don't do anything like this, but as an outsider looking in, I would think I would have a cork board that had all the information of the person participating in the bungee jump, of course, the waivers that they signed, all that stuff. But I would have a checklist, and it would be standard that, okay, let's check the vest, check, let's check, all right, that is where it's supposed to be, check, that is where it's supposed to be, check, and bungee cord attached, check. You don't check unless it's attached. That's a pretty simple concept, guys. And because of their carelessness, this young lady is gone, taken from this earth, man. You know, a simple checklist that once you do it, your second attendant there, you hand it off to them and you say, all right. And then they do the double check. Yep, you got that. Yep, you got that. Yep, court is attached. All right, I will sign off of it. You know, 2 signatures on that thing that this stuff was verified. Very simple. I've bungee jumped. And everywhere I've done it, like particularly Myrtle Beach, they are up and down and double, triple, quadruple checking everything, man. I was checking. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, especially the first time I did it. You know, I'm like, that's all right. I'm just making sure that thing's on there, you know? I mean, JB Weld, you know, can you hand me a soldering gun? I really want to make sure this thing's on there. Holy crap. You know, I remember when the first time I went to learn how to fly, it was in Myrtle Beach. And the guy that was teaching me was actually a really good friend of mine. He was a former Air Force pilot. And he taught me everything from the ground up. When we got out there to the plane, there was a checklist. You check the oil, you check the gas, you check all your little gauges, all this. Man, you had to do all of that and sign off on it. And then have another attendant come out to the plane and do the same thing and sign off on it. So you didn't get up in the air, in our case, in a 1965 little plane. And, oh, man, I forgot to check that. Right? Remind me sometime, guys, and I'm going to tell you the story behind my first time flying or learning to fly. Because there's some funny stories that go with that. But today's not the time and place, because we've got more matters at hand. But before we get to the more matters at hand, I've decided that I'm going to start bringing you, Factivists, the Fax Me Troll Comment of the Day. Because you know what? Some of them are just so good that you just have to laugh. And I particularly like the ones that have that twist of irony in them, right? So today's Fax Me Monday troll comment today goes to the winner, Stephen Perry 2157. And it's such a shame that his screen name is Steve Perry. I love Steve Perry. Love singing his stuff. I love Journey.
I sing up in a smoky room. I smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share tonight. It goes on and on and on and on. Strangers waiting. Walking down the boulevard, there's shadows searching in the night. Streetlights, people, living just to find an ocean, hiding somewhere in the night.
You know, and it's such a shame. It would really be a shame if this was the real Steve Perry, but thank goodness it's not. But Steve Perry 2157 says, you're not too smart. In fact, you're stupid. In fact, as you can see, I just respectfully responded, laugh out loud. You're too and you're, and I capped that off with a nice you're welcome. There is nothing more gratifying to me, Factivists, than a troll thinking they are getting the best of you. And in his case, the irony lies in the fact that he tried to say I wasn't smart and I was stupid. Meanwhile, showing his poor grammar. That's like the greatest setup ever. But there you guys go. You're not too smart. In fact, you're stupid. Well, Steve Perry 2157, from where we're sitting, I don't think you're too accurate on that. Fantastic. Fantastic. Can't wait to see what tomorrow is going to bring. But we are going to get moving on these numbers, my friends, because I have a lot to say, a lot to cover, a lot to show you, a lot to make sure everybody is digesting properly so you can run with it after the show. Everything that I am going to show you here today, I will make available as a graphic in the community section of YouTube. And of course, I will post them on Facebook so you guys can just run with these graphs versus sending people to the video. I mean, I think it would be great if you can get more people to come watch Fax Me. That'd be fantastic. But I'm just thinking ease of use for you guys. Here's the data. You're saying what? Here's the data, right? But we're going to get to that, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Check out these commercials. When we come back, we are going to dive head first into this data that is going to blow your mind. Stick around, Factivists.
You are watching Facts Me TV. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more content.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Obviously,
you are, my dear Candace. You are. Unless, of course, you count Erika Kirk, and then she's like way out of your league. You're not really that great. I'm sorry. I don't know why I misled you.
No! 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 Ah! Ah! No! My Charlie! My Charlie! Making gay! Fake and gay!
Hush-a-bye, Charlie, don't you roam. I've stitched your name into my home, threaded in curtains, tucked in seams. You live in all my little dreams. Hush-a-bye, Charlie, in my thread. I sew your shadow to my bed.
All right, my friends, let's get to this data. I know that's what you're biting at the bit for. Guys, when I tell you this is some amazing content, it is some amazing content. But we're going to talk numbers because numbers do not lie. I spent a great deal of time and sleepless nights double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking. And I can assure you this is 100% factual and 100% accurate. I ran a full transcript audit of Candace Owens' independent podcast. 225 episodes spanning from June 24th through June 26th. Every word, every mention, counted with precision using word boundary software and on verified transcripts. This is how I did it. No estimates, no assumptions, no approximates. What you are about to hear is 100% factual, completely accurate data as of this moment. Let's start before the assassination, because that's what you guys were asking for. Week or so ago, I did an episode, which you see the screenshot on the screen. Okay. You see that? Guys, if you want to catch up, go watch that. That's where I revealed how many times Candace has said Charlie and Erika since the assassination. And it is absurd. It is insane the amount of times she has said their names. But let's get to this because it goes with that. From the day Candace launched her independent show in June of 2024, all the way through August 2025. So right before the assassination, June 2024 to August 2025. She recorded 124 episodes. In those 124 episodes, she mentioned the name Charlie 46 times. Are you with me? August 2025, all the way back to June 2024. So that section from when she started to just before the assassination, she said the name Charlie 46 times. Now here's what matters. Of those 46 times, not all of them were even Charlie Kirk. She was talking about Charlie Sheen, Charlie Hebdo, Charlie Savage. So when it comes down to it, her former colleague, her best friend, right? Her best friend, 16 times, guys. 16 times. That's it. Out of all of those episodes, prior to his assassination, she only ever mentioned her bestie 16 times. 16. That's it. And it was just as passing references, not even focused on him. Like, in other words, oh, yeah, I remember when that happened. I think I was with Charlie, and then she went on her conversation. And Erika Kirk? Erika Kirk, you ready for this number? Erika Kirk. How many times did she mention Erika Kirk before the assassination? How many times? This is from June 2024 to August 2025, right before the assassination. Candace Owens mentioned Erika Kirk. 0. Not once. You will not find her mentioning Erika Kirk one time before Charlie's assassination. Not once. In 124 episodes across 16 months of podcasting, Erika Kirk did not exist in the Candace Owens vocabulary. 0 mentions, 0 episodes, 0. Now, let's do a recap of the numbers from the previous show. Let's talk about after September 10th, 2025. Charlie Kirk is assassinated. And something changes. Fundamentally. In Candace Owens' content, in the 101 episodes she recorded after the assassination, the same number of episodes, roughly speaking, she said the name Charlie 4,559 times. 4,559 times after he was assassinated. That is a 99 times increase. A 99 times increase. Every single episode, 100 out of 101 mentioned Charlie. That averages to be 45 mentions per episode. Erika Kirk went from 0 to 2,250 mentions. She went from 0 to 2,250 mentions, appearing in 94 of the 101 episodes. 22 times per episode on average. A person who did not exist in her content before September 10th becomes the second most mentioned name in her entire catalog. But here's where it gets more significant. We also tracked, again, I'm saying we, I guess me and Remington did. Me and Remy also tracked every variation of Israel, Jewish, Zionist, and anti-Semitism terminology across all episodes. Post-assassination, Candace Owens used the word Israel or its variations, Israeli, Israelis, you get it, 1,557 times post-assassination. The word Jewish and its variants, Jew, Jews, Jewish, 429 times. Zionist terminology, Zionist, Zionists, Zionism, Zion, 308 times. And anti-Semitism related language, anti-Semitic, anti-Semitism, Semite, 263 times. So combined, 2,362 mentions of Jew, Israel, Zionist, and anti-Semitism related language. 2,362 mentions across 93 of 101 post-assassination episodes. That is 92% episode saturation. And to put this into, for context, in the year before the assassination, when she was focused on Kamala Harris, Diddy, and Blake Lively, the entire Israel family of words appeared just 270 times. 3.1 per episode post-assassination, 14.8 per episode, a 5 times increase. And critically, Israel is no longer a topic she occasionally visits. It is a constant thread woven directly into her theory of who killed Charlie Kirk. Now, my friends, let's talk about what she said about Erika specifically. Now, I'm not done with these numbers, okay? We're just getting started. We're working up to the grand finale here. But my analysis identified 29 distinct passages across 18 episodes where Candace Owens used direct accusatory language within close proximity of Erika Kirk's name. So in other words, this is to help with the lawsuits against Candace. She has called her a liar. She has implied murder plot involvement, making legal threats, condemning her morality. You guys already know. But in 5 separate episodes, the words murder or kill appear within 200 characters of Erika Kirk's name. In her Red Sparrow investigative series, she stated, and I am quoting directly from the transcript, not to suggest that Erika directly murdered Charlie, but it is to say that were it not for her actual friends refusing the foregone conclusion that spouses would never have a hand in the murder of one another. See what she does there? That is a textbook hedge, my friends. That is how you imply something while maintaining deniability. And she thinks that gets her out of it, but it doesn't, because we know that's what that is. You say it, then you unsay it, all within the same breath. Okay, that technique's not going to hold up in court, Candace. My investigation also found 125 instances of conspiracy framing language, from cover up, they knew, they lied, staged, who hired. This has been deployed across 63 of her 101 post-assassination episodes. So here is what the data tells us. Here is it, plain and simple, fax me style, factivists. Before the assassination, Charlie Kirk was a footnote. Her brother, her best friend. No, he was nothing but a footnote. And historically, your own podcast proves that, with how little you actually talked about Charlie. Erika Kirk didn't even exist in Candace's world, and Israel was just an occasional topic. Period. After the assassination, Charlie Kirk became her entire identity. Erika Kirk became her primary target, and Israel became the connective tissue of her conspiracy theory. 2,250 Erika mentions. 4,559 Charlie mentions. 2,362 references to Jewish, Israeli, and Zionist terminology in 101 episodes in under 9 months. And here's the reality, Factivists. The numbers don't have a motive. They're incapable of a motive. They're incapable of feelings, making decisions. Numbers are reality. These numbers are fact. They don't have an agenda. They just count. And what they're counting consistently, methodically, across 9 months of daily broadcasting is an obsession. And this proves it. So anybody out there taking Candace Owens to court, feel free to use my information. And if you need me to testify, I will happily do it. I will bring on my data, all the sources, anything you guys need. Her obsession, directed at a widow, built entirely on a false narrative and conspiracy, and amplified, the worst part here, Factivists, amplified from a platform that claims to seek the truth. And of course, we know better. So let's look at this. So, you guys heard me talk the numbers. Let's take a look at everything so you can visualize it. This is some of the imagery that I will make available to you guys. Just check the community section of YouTube after this show. Or if you follow me on Facebook, I'm going to make a post about it with this episode. Here are the screenshots you guys can use. But before we jump into these screenshots and the finale of numbers that you guys are just going to absolutely love, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
And Ben Shapiro, and I hate the Daily Wire too. Boo-hoo. And I was fired by TP Charlie. Oh no. And I lied. Daily Wire fired me too. And I don't like a thing about blonde women. And I hate Donald Trump too. Boo-hoo. And I won't ever solve a mystery. No. 'Cause I think blondes are overrated too. And I'm a prick and I'm a clown. I can't read or a word pronounce. I hate everything about Jews. Fake and gay. Everything about Jews. Fake and gay. Everything about Jews. Fake and gay. Everything about Jews.
All right, my Factivists, we are back. And again, a quick reminder on the parodies and music videos. You can find them right here on this channel under a playlist conveniently titled Parodies. There you go. You can share the crap out of them, guys. But if you're looking on the screen, this is some of the analysis I ran. You can see pre-September 2025, so August 2024 to August 2025, to then post-September 2025. Okay, so you can see before the assassination, 124 episodes were analyzed. After the assassination, 101 episodes were analyzed. Before the assassination, the name Charlie mentioned 46 times. After the assassination, 4,559 times. And again, Erika, in any variation with a K or with a C, 0 times before that assassination. And as I said earlier in my breakdown, of the 46 times that the word Charlie is mentioned before the assassination, many are not Charlie Kirk at all. The actual mentions of Charlie Kirk was 16. I think earlier when I was giving my assessment, I said 15. I think so. I'd have to go back. But it's 16. So only 16 times her bestie, her brother from another mother, right? That really doesn't sound like a best friend to me. Okay, but let's take a look at the next one. So this next one dives into it a little bit more. So you can see what the overall verdict of this is. Charlie per episode before the assassination was a 0.4%, man. Right? Post-September, after the assassination, she jumps 113 time increase. An increase of 113 times. Right? Again, you can see Erika per episode, 0 mentions before the assassination. And now it's, way more. Erika Kirk did not exist in Candace Owens content before September 25. 0 mentions across 124 episodes and roughly 16 months of podcasting. Charlie Kirk was mentioned only in passing, never as a focus before his death. The assassination transformed him into the single most mentioned name in her entire catalog and created Erika Kirk as a new obsession from scratch. How is that, Factivus? Right? Now, I guess you are ready. You are biting at the bit, because what I'm about to show you guys puts so many things to rest. All right? So many excuses, so many explanations, right? Okay? And we're going to kind of touch on those as I go over this graph that you're about to see. But I did a full, and I mean full, extensive YouTube audit of Candace Owens. Okay? And this is fantastic. This is the graphic you are going to want to share around to her cultists or anybody telling you that Candace is bigger than what reality tells us. Okay? So, looking on the screen, we're going to go over this. At the top, you can see Candace Owens' YouTube monthly views audit. All right, then you've got my little Fax Me branding stuff. This is from her YouTube at Real Candace O. From June 24th to June 26th. A solid 2 years. Okay, a solid 2 years worth of data. And my sources were vidIQ, Social Blade, and ViewStats. Now, you can see down here at the bottom, kind of, I've got things color-coded. But it's really irrelevant because the graphic itself tells the story. Now, Candace bragging about becoming the #1 podcast in the world. Yeah, well, I got some stuff to say to that, too. It was very, very short-lived. Like a day. Okay? And it wasn't you, Candace. It wasn't you that became #1. It was Charlie Kirk that became #1. When it comes down to it, you became #1 because you had roped these people in as a savior when you were nothing more than a liar. So people were tuning in hoping you were going to give them answers that never came. And they still haven't. 8 months later. But let's take a look at this graph, guys. If you're looking on the screen, let's go from left to right. You can see at the point she started her podcast in June of 2024, all the way to June 2026. In June 2024, when she launched it, she launched it with a solid 22 million viewers. Now, you have to keep in mind, this wasn't Candace coming out of nowhere, right? Like, she wasn't like Fax Me coming out of nowhere and where I actually have to work hard and build an audience. She had already had one, thanks to Charlie Kirk platforming her and Ben Shapiro platforming her. So all she did was springboard and ride the coattails of the Daily Wire to get that audience. So when she was fired, she already had a built-in audience to launch her show. It was nothing that she actually earned on her own. Because let's face facts, if Candace didn't have multi-millions behind her and she didn't have Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Alex Jones, Blex, and all these people that platformed her, nobody'd even know who she is, period. Because her personality isn't going to win anybody over. But as you can see, we'll start from the left here in June of 2024. She starts at 22 million and she starts her rise. And by the time she gets to November of 2024, she's at 70 million views. But then took a dive in December because historically she generally takes a week break or whatnot. And that's what she always explains the dive in her numbers on, right? That's what she says. Well, I wasn't even on for a week, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. That works in this case because when she did return in January, she jumped back up to 65 million. She went up again. Then she started teetering. You can start to see that she started teetering. She'd go down, she'd dip, she'd go up. Okay. And then the dotted line that you guys are seeing on the screen that divides the two colors, that is the moment Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Charlie Kirk gets assassinated on September 10th, 2025. Look at her audience directly before that day, directly before the dotted line, 80 million views. Immediately after Charlie was assassinated, she jumps to 110 million views. By October, she's got everybody roped in, 155 million views. Then hits November. This is the star. She peaked at 180 million views. But again, she didn't peak. Charlie Kirk did. If she would have been covering something else or talking about something else, this spike would have never happened. It's just she used Charlie Kirk for the interest, and it clearly worked. So she hits number one, where you see the star right directly underneath 180 million. And I've got the little note there, November 2025, number one podcast globally from Podscribe. That is who is saying she hit number one. But then look at this dive. Instantly dived. Okay. Now that tells me a couple things. That everybody was waiting for something to get dropped in November, which would explain the views, unless they were bought, okay, or bots, right? But then dives to 95 million. Literally almost half of her audience, 180 million views in November, dropped to 95 million. Literally almost half. In fact, more than half. Okay? You about got... Remy down there dreaming about something. He's barking at something in his sleep. Probably Candace. Probably has nightmares. I'm sorry, buddy. So you see this double dive, man. Half of her audience gone in less than a month's time. Now, here's what's funny, is what did Candace and her cronies say when that happened? If you guys remember, Back in December when this happened, if you were following me then, I made a big deal about it. I was posting graphs, I was posting memes saying that she dived. She lost half of her audience, and I was attacked. I was attacked by her cult. Oh, that's because she's on a 10-week break. She does it every December, right? Okay. Well, then how do you explain it diving further when she hits January? So this ends the debate as to whether or not her 10-week break is what really influenced her drop in viewership. Clearly, it didn't. What influenced her drop in viewership, more than half of her audience, was the fact she wasn't delivering anything that she was promising on. She kept telling people, oh, dropping a bomb today. And then you get to that episode, there was no bomb. Oh, next episode, we've got very good information coming in from an unnamed source. People tune in. People started to see. They started to get the grift, right? So here we are looking at December, 95 million, more than half of her viewership. Drops again to January, another 10 million to 85 million. Drops again in February, another 10 million to 75 million. We hit March. She's now down to 60 million, a 15 million drop. Then drops to 50 million. Then in May, 42 million. So where she started out at 110 million on the Charlie Kirk grift, peaked at 180, she is now down to 42 million in May. And June isn't looking much promising or more promising. Okay, that's up to date. So she may actually peak a little bit here. And I think we can account the Russia talk and everybody's interest in her stuff with Russia. I think that's what's causing her to kind of climb a little bit more. But look at this. From November of last year to now, she has done nothing but dive. Nothing but dive. That is a negative 78% from her peak to now. She has lost since November of last year to June of this year to today. She has lost 78% of her audience. 78%. These are the numbers, my friends, that you want to run with. So to recap, she started in June of 2024 at 22 million, riding off of the back of the Daily Wire. Peaked all the way up once Charlie was assassinated to 180 million, hit number one for a day on the podcast charts, then started her downward spiral that has continued down all the way to now. A 78% loss of her viewership from November 2025 to June 2026. So what do you factivists think about that, my friends? Huh? That's some good numbers, right? That right there proves and it's not a small dive. This is nearly 80% of her Charlie Kirk audience. Nearly 80% of them are now gone. They have given up on her. Nearly 80%. That is insane. And to see it in print like that, to see it completely accurate like that, this gives you guys all the ammunition you need to run at the cultists. That is, I knew there was going to be a decline, but when I started running these numbers, that's why I triple and quadruple checked. I'm like, this is huge. And to see it in print, nobody's done this. This is huge. So this image, my friends, you guys run with it and tell them where you got it, buddy. Bring them right here. They can watch this full episode to see how I talked it out, how I laid it out, how I acted it out, to facted it out. We got to work on that one, guys. We got to work on it. I do like the way I'm going with that, though. You know, I'm going to act it out so you can fact it out. I like that. I do. Okay, well, we are at the end of this show, guys. What did you think? We talked about a tragedy in Brazil, which should have been avoided, should have never even happened. We talked about Bill Maher once again siding with Trump. He's done it before. You know, he talked about his dinner at the White House with Trump and how Trump's a great guy. This is Bill Maher. Okay? That speaks volumes to me. And then we got into these numbers. I think it's very clear, and I think there's very little argument that these numbers prove the accusations, prove the obsession, prove the stalking, prove the grifting, that she has no identity. Charlie Kirk is her identity, and she has made a ton of money off of him. But now it's gone, man. It's just going down and down. And the beauty of it is, next week she's back in court over the Macron case. That's the one, guys, I believe it's the 22nd. That's the one that determines whether or not, for sure, this case is going to go forward or be dismissed. So we will know, and of course I will update you guys on that. But we're going to wrap up this first episode of the week, my friends. Please leave your thoughts in the comments. Much love to the mods that are here. I appreciate all of your hard work. I appreciate you wrangling up the chat and getting people to like and subscribe. We're growing, guys. Slowly, but we're growing. And you know, and in the end, you guys and FaxMe is going to be able to say wherever we get and we peak, we're going to be able to say we got there honest. And we didn't have to ride the back of anybody else to do it. Okay? This is good. This is great. Loving this community, loving my mods, loving you guys. Received a ton of emails from you guys recently. I'm not going to point anybody out, but there were a few prayer requests, and I have added you guys to my prayers. Again, if you guys want me to do a public prayer right here on the show, just let me know. Just be very transparent about what you're asking, if you want your name mentioned or not. Okay. Otherwise, I'm not going to say anything. Also, you guys are sending me suggestions for more parodies. And one suggestion I got is actually really, really good. And I think I'm going to do that one. I'm not even going to spoil it for you guys. You who sent it to me, the idea, great idea. It's going to take me a while to build that one, but I like where your head's at with it. And you factivists are going to like it too when it's all said and done. But that was a great suggestion. Great suggestion. I'm going to take it and do it. It's going to take a bit to figure out a song for it, work the song, sing the song, write the song, play the song. And then, of course, work on all the artwork and animation and all that stuff too. But it's a great idea. So, you guys, I want you to have just an awesome week. We will be back tomorrow with another Fax Me Live at 4 p.m. That's right, my friends. Monday through Friday, you can watch Fax Me TV right here on YouTube at 4 p.m. Eastern. And I'm starting to schedule things out. I'm going to have a birthday bash on September 8th. That is my birthday. I turned 49 years old. We're going to do a birthday bash episode. It's going to be live. It's going to be loose. We'll make it a Q&A. We'll just talk to each other. No real news that day or whatever. It's just going to be a fun time of all of us hanging out, and partying the way you're comfortable with partying. I will be drinking my Diet Cherry Coke. Actually, I got the wrong ones today. Sad part is I didn't even notice. I'm drinking it. Also, in the future, we're going to do a parody party where it'll be all about the parodies, laughing and having a good time watching all the parodies and introducing new ones. Thinking of some cool ideas to mix the shows up, guys. Doesn't always have to be news, right? It can just be us having a good time. We can be talking music. We can be talking movies. But we'll get there, guys. So I'm scheduling things out, trying to make more of a concrete schedule, more of a system that everybody can get used to. So, hey, Steven's supposed to be live at 4 p.m. today, You guys already know the weekends are always a wild card. Yet for some reason, I end up showing up. But you guys, have a great day. Please, please keep the truth on your tongue and God in your heart. And I'll be talking at you all soon. Take care, my friends.
It's time.